What if Venezuela wasn't the headline, but the signal? China is circling Taiwan, Iran is threatening war, and North Korea is issuing warnings. And suddenly, world leaders are talking in the numbers the Bible warned us about decades ago. Today, we connect the dots and ask the question no one wants to answer. Are we watching the early stages of World War III? Welcome to the Endtime Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We're so happy you've joined us today. Don't forget, we need your help. Go ahead and share this video right now. Be sure you're engaging in the chat. And then, of course, give us a thumbs up or a heart wherever you're at. Whatever the best option is there, give it to us right now. And, of course, share with your groups and direct messages and all the ways that you can share. That goes a long way in helping us out. We appreciate it very much. As you know, it's a new year. 2026 is finally here. And if you're like many faith-driven families right now, you're asking, how do we protect what God's blessed us with in such uncertain times? And that's why we partner with True Gold Republic, a company that shares our values and helps everyday Americans secure real physical gold and silver at the guaranteed lowest price anywhere. No Wall Street games, no paper promises, just real assets, shipped free and fully insured to your door. And if you're thinking long term, you can even roll over an IRA or 401k into gold with no minimum investment required. They're not like the other guys when it comes to that. So start 2026 with a plan rooted in wisdom and strength. Visit endtimegold.com or call 800-628-GOLD. That's endtimegold.com or 800-628-GOLD and ask for the Endtime Show special. All right, Doug, this is actually our first show of 2026, even though we did one on January 1. I love telling people that because we recorded it weeks in advance, 26 reasons why the rapture would not happen in 2026. Of course, we did this earlier in the year leading up to September. So we can record this one in advance because the rapture's not going to happen then, so we can go ahead and do it now. So It feels good to be back. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too,
especially since it's your birthday tomorrow, Doug. I forgot that until right now. It's Doug's birthday. I thought you just had a birthday.
It seems like it.
You told me not to say anything, but I couldn't help myself.
Thanks, Vince. I appreciate it.
Let Doug know in the chat. Happy birthday. Give him some birthday wishes.
Man, I'm almost 60, Vince.
I think do we have a graphic?
Well,
maybe later.
Knowing you guys.
All right, there it is. Look at
nice.
that. Look at happy birthday, Doug.
Boy,
your teeth are really white.
I know. I wish they really were that white.
Wow, they really.
Years of drinking coffee, they don't look like that
They're
anymore.
like Doug's almost ready for that all day at the golf course look. So
yeah, I even look like I got a tan there. So
that's what I'm saying.
Nice.
You've been at the golf course for a while.
Yeah, I don't even play golf.
We should have added Trump hair to that, but just for your birthday.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I think.
All right. Well, since we're celebrating your birthday, should we talk about World War III?
Yeah, let's do it. Might as well have some fireworks going off.
Yeah,
right?
there you go. So what are we looking for? Because obviously the Venezuela stuff started. Of course, the threat of we've been talking about the potential of Taiwan for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Iran seems to keep coming up in the news, and everyone's questioning why that really is.
Yeah.
So what are we looking for?
There's a lot of instability going on right now in the world, and that's kind of what we were going to talk about today. I mean, we've got a ton of things that we could discuss, especially because everybody's got a viewpoint and an angle on this. Everybody thinks that they know the reasons for what happened in Venezuela. Lots of people think it was about oil. A lot of people think it was about voting machines and all kinds of different things. So,
did I throw in that other option for you? Have I told you this yet?
I don't know. What another?
I heard that
theory.
Venezuela was one of the last standing countries of its size to not be in the central banking industry.
Huh. Wow. That's interesting.
Very.
It's not as interesting as what Tucker Carlson had said. Did you see what he said about it?
I did not hear from Tucker Carlson, no.
Yeah, he said that it was because that the president of Venezuela wasn't a homosexual-friendly president.
I did see that. I forgot,
they were going to establish there would promote homosexuality, and that's why it was done, was to remove this guy that would stand up against homosexuals. So
time will tell.
Yeah, won't it? Okay, so anyway, getting back to the seriousness of the situation. I mean, there is a lot going on, and of course, a lot of people are saying, Vince, that this could possibly open the door for China to invade Taiwan, because China is saying, well, if the United States can go and kidnap a sitting president in Venezuela, then China can go in and take back land that they believe belongs to them and the people also that are supposed to be from mainland China. So there was an interesting article that came out in Gatestone Institute, and it was basically saying there are reasons why this could open the door for that. So let me just kind of summarize that article for you. Once again, this was from Gatestone Institute. The article was saying that while China is escalating military pressure around Taiwan, because if you saw that last week, there was a large presence of Chinese military around Taiwan, really pressuring them and scaring a lot of people. But the full invasion or blockade is unlikely in the near terms because China is more trade dependent than ever. We're going to get into that a little bit more in a minute and talk about what this really looks like it could be about. But it says deeply casualty averse, the hampered by international military purges, this political instability under Xi Jinping, an attack on Taiwan would risk massive economic disruption for China, domestic backlash, and a formation of a powerful international coalition against Beijing. So they're saying that it's highly unlikely that it would happen, but at the same time, they said Xi maintains high regional tensions to secure his personal power and increase the risk of this miscalculation. And any conflict in the East Asia would likely expand rapidly. So that's where people are talking about the fears of World War III breaking out. That's one of the things that apparently Chinese people in this article, it was saying, don't believe in taking other Asians' lives. I didn't realize that, but that is something that they say is one of the reasons why they would not want a large-scale casualty in a war-type situation. But also that the U.S. Allies like Japan and the Philippines, with the potential support for China coming from Russia and North Korea, could make this catastrophic. So it could cause problems. And it's interesting because North Korea started chiming in on this situation too, Vince. And so you've got a major power like China talking about what Trump has done, the possibility of what they could do with Taiwan. Of course, the United States has said forever that if China tries to attack Taiwan, that we would make moves into there. Also, I think last week was one of the freighters that were captured that had missiles that they were sending to Taiwan from the United States that China seized, and that could cause some problems as well. So things could escalate there. That's not one of the things that Trump talked about. He didn't believe that China would be a problem, but like I said, we got more news. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but it
was so interesting that they had a Chinese delegate there visiting
at the time.
It's like that seems more risky than I would imagine, but it's almost like Trump's going, we're going to do it anyway type thing.
One of the reports I heard, and I don't know because I haven't had time to research all that, but one of the things that they said that was going on there is that Venezuela owed China a lot of money, and that a
lot of money,
and that China sent these delegates in to talk to the president there. And when Trump did this, he knew those delegates from China were there visiting, and he was showing them just how powerful the U.S. is and not to mess with us. And that was a message he was sending out. Now, I don't have proof to back that up per se, but it's interesting to talk about that and think about that. So,
yes, the 4D chess stuff.
Yeah,
sit back and get your popcorn. I'm still waiting on several other things, but we're going to see how all that plays out very, very soon. Before we get into the next story, Doug, I want to tell people about 3 very important events, live in-person events that are coming up. Number 1, this coming weekend, we have the conference here in Garland, Texas, so the Dallas, Texas area. Saturday night, 6 p.m., Dave's teaching a brand new lesson. He's going to be sharing details about what's happening in Israel that he hasn't shared anywhere else yet. New developments continue to happen with that. It's really amazing. So he's going to share that Saturday night, 6 p.m., more details around that. Sunday night at 6 p.m. So 2 nights, Saturday, Sunday, totally free to attend. You don't have to RSVP. Just show up, first come, first serve on seating. All those details are available at endtime.com/events. I'm preaching the 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. services on Sunday morning. That's all available at endtime.com/events as well. So we're going to have 4 different services, if you will, where you can come and be with some of the end timers around the Dallas area and some of our team members here.
Now let me ask you this, because I'm already getting questions about it. Will it be broadcasted?
I don't like to tell people.
I know, because you want people to come personal and be
it's like
there.
I want to meet you face to face.
Right.
I don't want to.
But
get
what
your
if
thumbs
somebody
up
is
on,
in, Kentucky?
Well, we
for
have
instance.
the Dallas Fort Worth Airport right here. Come on in.
You want them to fly in?
I think the
Okay.
church is going to stream it on North Cities. So
I mean, it's always good to know that, because there are some people that can't make it, and they want to see the most recent information that Dave's going to be giving. And this is going to be a big reveal, kind of about some of the things that need to be talked about. So.
Yeah, I'm excited about this weekend. So make plans to attend in person.
And you're going to be preaching.
Oh, that's tough.
I know, it's heavy.
I feel sorry for
it's
all those
heavy,
people.
man. No, it's not that. It's just a heavy thing that happens.
Also, is it this Monday?
Yes.
January 12th. Mm-hmm. You are starting an Understanding the End Time class at your church in Kilgore, Texas.
Yes, that's
so
correct. You
better give the details, because I'm about the extent of my.
Okay, well, I've got my little card to remind me, and so I make sure I get everything right, because
Did
we're
we
also
mention you're having
starting.
a birthday tomorrow, so you need that reminder.
Yeah, do have a birthday.
I'll try to stop that.
And I'm getting older. So this is going to be at Church on the Hilltop there in Kilgore, Texas. It's 3286 FM 1252 West, Kilgore, Texas, 75662. If you're in that area, Longview, Tyler, Gladewater, White Oak, Henderson, anywhere around there, and you would like to come to the Understanding the End Time study. Now, this is the brand new study that Dave did. When did he do this? 2 years ago now, when he updated everything and we got that going. It's going to be that study that we're doing. It'll be on Monday nights, every Monday night at 6:30 to 8 p.m., beginning January 12th. And it's going to be there at the church. We're also starting to have services there regularly. So we had a pretty good group on Sunday so far. It's been our biggest group that we've had come. So you're more than welcome to come on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock too. But that Bible study starts next Monday, January 12th. I'm excited about it.
And if you're in that area and you want details, you can go to endtime.com/contact, fill out the form there. It'll get to Doug, and I'll be able to connect you with Doug and Tina, and it'll be a great group. People need to know what's going on, and I mean, this is an opportunity where they get to sit with you as you're going through these studies. They can ask you their questions, and you can have a conversation like this. No cameras, obviously, but you guys can walk through all your questions and fears, and of course, I know you're going to help walk with people through that. So it'll be a great opportunity for everyone in the Kilgore area to come out. Kilgore Metroplex.
Yeah.
I heard about Kilgore College today. So
I know, right?
It really broadened my horizons on Kilgore.
We're not just some little podunk town out there.
It sounds like it is a great place. I've been there. I've been to Juicy's and other places around there. So, and then lastly, May 6th, we'll be going on another Israel tour.
Right.
Now, the problem with that is...
There's not a problem with that.
Well, if you think May, you're going to be too late, because you have to go reserve your spot now.
Right.
This is limited to a certain number of people. Once those spots are gone, that's it. You won't be able to register because it'll be filled up. And so we need you to respond to that as quickly as possible. If you plan to go on the tour with us, we will be having a wonderful time. This is Israel only. Yes. Okay,
and as quick as things are changing there, or as fast as things are happening, I should say, this is a year to go. I mean, it really is. Because, I mean, there are things that could happen this year that could start the final 7 years. I mean, if the pieces of the puzzle keep falling together like they have in 2025, we could be looking at the beginning of something here. So what a year to go. What a great time to go. And you get to go, not only do you get to go with Dave and Jana, but you get to go with Israel's first
and only
prophetic
tactical advisor.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that.
Dave Robbins. I'm sorry, I stole your thunder.
Well, no, that's great.
That's going to be pretty exciting, guys. You get to meet Joel
the
Golden.
first tour and you'll get to meet the chaplain of the IDF, who's also a born-again believer, Joel Golden, many other things happening there in Israel. So you definitely want to be part of this coming tour. I want to go so bad. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to go or not, but one day maybe, Doug. Yeah. Maybe this one. I don't know.
You never know. You might get to go this time.
I don't want to leave my kids. That's one of the challenges.
Maybe you could take them with you. Who knows?
Well,
hey, God can do anything.
I don't know if anyone going on that tour wants to go on a tour with a bunch of kids. So,
well,
maybe next time. I don't know. We'll see. Endtime.com/tour, or you can call 800-363-8463. Talk to Janice. She'll get you all the information.
Absolutely.
Now, Doug, what in the world is Kim Jong-un saying now? Because he's always got something to say, it seems. Right. And, of course, him and Trump have gone back and forth. And, of course, Trump was the first U.S. president, I think, ever to go to North Korea. And now he's jumping in on what's going on with Venezuela.
Not only did he go, but he just marched through the what is it called, the no man's zone there, and it just walked right up in there like he owned the place. It was pretty incredible when he did that, when he met who he referred to as Rocket Man at the time. Kim. Kim Jong-un, he is now saying that Maduro is his personal friend, which I
didn't know he had personal friends.
I understand why he would say something like that, because they're both kind of corrupt. But the North Korean president, or I guess leader of North Korea, condemned the United States following the detention of the Venezuelan president and his wife, Kim Jong-un, calling Maduro a friend and warning that the action could push the world toward global war. So he's talking about World War III. Kim demanded that the U.S. immediately disclose Maduro's status and release him, warning of serious international consequences if he does not. Amid rising tensions with North Korea, they launched multiple ballistic missiles into eastern waters, triggering heightened alerts from South Korea and the United States and Japan. And Russia, at the same time, also denounced the U.S. move as armed aggression against Venezuela, accusing Washington of acting out of ideological hostilities rather than diplomatic, and warning of escalating international confrontation with Russia, with North Korea, with China, with Iran, all of their proxies there, all of their allies. They're definitely talking about an escalation that could lead to World War III. So, especially with the threat of some of the things that we've seen lately, because a lot of people, they have said that something's got to be done with the Brexit, and that, they were trying to move away from the petrodollar and create their own economy where they could not rely on the West and the United States especially. And so a lot of people have been talking about that for a while. We've talked about it a few times, how that could be something going on. Well, this could be part of that, Vince, and that's what's interesting of what this could really be about. Because there's, like we talked about, there's been a lot of speculation. People said, well, this is all about the oil, or it's all about this. It has nothing to do with drugs and drug trafficking and all the things that go along with that. And, of course, President Trump has taken a lot of heat from a lot of different people because everybody's got their own ideas of why this is happening. Well, there was an article that came out today. Actually, Dave sent this to me from the Jerusalem News Syndicate. And that article kind of puts it in perspective, and it goes along with what Trump was saying the other day. President Trump, I know some people don't like it when we say Trump, so I'll address him as President Trump as much as I can. But President Trump, when he said we couldn't allow this kind of activity to happen in our hemisphere, like this is our area, our neck of the woods, it's kind of like what Putin was saying about NATO moving into his backyard when this whole situation started with the Ukraine. And so this article broke that down a little bit. And so I was hoping that maybe you would kind of help people understand what that article means and what they're talking about, because this gets into the inner workings of this and exposes a little bit more about what's going on. And yeah, it's about oil, but not in the way we're thinking.
Yeah. So you can search the axis the U.S. just struck, and it highlights why all this matters and how the U.S. capture of the Venezuelan president was not just a counter-narcotics operation, but a strike against a covert energy and logistics network linking Russia, Iran, China, and Venezuela. So, Doug, right out of the gate, I want to pause here and just ask you, we're talking about World War, and we're talking about these countries. Obviously, Venezuela is nowhere near the Euphrates River.
Right.
But we've said for years that we believe the Sixth Trumpet War, World War III, will come from the Euphrates River area. So how in the world can we talk about World War III and this at the same time?
Right. So one of the things that we have to realize is all of those nations that are involved in the things that are going on with Iran and Israel over in the Euphrates area, they're allies of Iran, right? These countries, Russia, Iran, and China, even Venezuela. One of the things that the article mentioned, because we're kind of giving everybody a brief summary of this article today, but one of the things that it mentioned is that Venezuela even helps with the drones that Iran uses to attack Israel. They even help with setting up Hezbollah. And so there is a lot of interaction there. So these countries are going to be the countries involved in that World War III all of that centers around what's been going on in the Euphrates River area, and this is just another extension of that. It's crazy at how, when you think about it and how the tentacles of what Iran's been doing with Israel and attacking Israel, trying to surround Israel with her enemies, these tentacles are reaching out to other people, other countries that are their allies, and all this is kind of in our backyard, and that's what the whole situation is. So that's how it kind of ties all that together, because if a conflict were to start, it's going to cause, not that it could, but it's going to cause the entire world to go into this frenzy. And Iran, with some of the things that's going on there, we'll touch on that here in a minute and talk about some of the things happening in Iran right now. But Iran is even tied to this Venezuela situation, which is, it's mind-boggling. Because like Trump said, they're in our hemisphere, they're in our backyard. So that's why it matters, Vince. That's why what we're about to find out, it matters because of this source and where it comes from.
All right. And so then after the U.S. sanctions cut off American support, Russia supplied naphtha needed to process Venezuelan heavy crude. Iran helped rebuild refineries and facilitated weapons production, and China became the primary buyer of Venezuelan oil.
Yeah, now hang on just a second, because there's something that is not in the summary that we need to talk on that you just talked about. So right there where you said that Russia they allow them to have this import of this naphtha. That's needed because the Venezuelan oil is so heavy that it doesn't even pour. It's just like a glob of tar until you add this chemical to it that Russia supplies, and then it allows it to flow like regular oil, which is where then it goes to China. So this is how all the pieces tie together there.
All right. So then after that, this network allowed all 4 countries to bypass U.S. influence and sanctions by dismantling Venezuela's role as the hub of this system. The U.S. disrupted Russia's energy exports, Iran's Western Hemisphere operations, and China's effort to secure oil supplies outside U.S.-controlled sea lanes, making Chinese energy security more vulnerable in any future conflict, especially over Taiwan.
Now, think about what this is saying. You really need to go and read the whole article. It's a huge article, but people need to go there and read that, because it explains it in such detail that it shows you the moving parts that are happening there in Venezuela. This is much larger than what everybody's thinking. And, of course, the people who are Trump haters that are going to hate on Trump no matter what he does, they're attacking for reasons saying, oh, it's all about the oil. The United States has plenty of oil. We've got all the oil we need, folks. If you don't realize that, then you need to go research that, because we have plenty of oil resources in this country that we could tap into, and we could be completely self-sufficient on oil. But what is happening here is that this is bypassing. Venezuela was helping to bypass those sanctions and those things that the United States is putting on our enemies and on these other countries that are trying to squeeze us and squeeze our economy. This is putting more pressure on that because he's done this now. They're not going to be able to bypass the system anymore, which is what they were trying to do. And so that's what a lot of this is about. But they're doing all this. What we got to understand, and the major point that I'm trying to make today, is they're doing this in our backyard, Vince, where, I mean, you got to realize that they could launch something from Venezuela and it could be here in 30 minutes. I mean, that's how close they are. It's probably faster than that nowadays. I mean, I remember when China bragged that from the Panama Canal, they could launch city buster missiles that could be here in 11 minutes from the Panama Canal. So they have weaponry that they could use, being able to partner with Venezuela the way that they were partnering with them. And remember, this president, he illegally took power there in that country. And, of course, a lot of people tie in the voting machines and everything there with Venezuela as well. That could be part of it, too. I'm sure that we're just touching the tip of the iceberg here, Vince, when we begin to start finding out more and more about what this is about. But this article shows exactly how this could evolve into a global conflict, because now we're putting the squeeze on China, Iran, and Russia by this single action of going in and removing this corrupt government from being put in place, where people didn't vote for this guy. He took over the country. So the other thing, to remember when we talk about World War III is that, like you said in the tease there, that China has boasted that they can field a 200 million man army, which is exactly what it talks about in Revelation chapter 9. So that's one of the things, Vince, that is on the horizon too. You've got military power there with these allies that could field that number from that prophecy.
We're going to be talking about what's happening in Iran on the other side of the break, as well as giving you 8 reasons for something that you need to know about. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
One of the most frequently asked questions we receive at Endtime Ministries is, why do you guys teach the rapture happens after the Great Tribulation? Should we be passively waiting to be taken at any moment, or actively preparing for the greatest revival in history? Paul states plainly it will not occur until after the man of sin, the Antichrist, is revealed, and that will not happen until God declares it is time. I will walk you through a timeline of the final 7 years. The rapture, the marriage supper of the Lamb, and the second coming of Jesus Christ is one continuous event. It's not an event separated by 7 years.
Now streaming on OnlySource and available to order at endtime.com. Go to endtime.com/next or call 1-800-ENDTIME.
What if you could understand Bible prophecy? Dave Robbins, the host of the End Time Show's TV and radio programs, is holding a free prophecy conference near you. Gain peace and understanding about what the Bible says concerning end-time prophecy. Call 1-800-ENDTIME or go to endtime.com/events to see when Dave will be in a location near you.
Welcome back to the End Time Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. Dave and Jenna Robbins will be in a conference near you coming up this weekend, Saturday night, Sunday night, 6 p.m. Dave will be teaching a brand new lesson about Israel, sharing details he hasn't shared anywhere else yet about some developments that have happened. Of course, you've heard some of the story, but there's new developments coming up almost weekly at this point. It's unbelievable how the Lord is opening doors, specifically with the revival that's happening in Israel, and we're honored to be a part of that. We want to steward our relationships there well and do what the Lord's calling us to do. And Dave's going to share a lot about that this Saturday, 6 p.m. in person in Garland, Texas. All the details are available at endtime.com/events. I'm preaching Sunday morning at 9 and 11. We would love for you to come out for all four. The services at 9/11 are mirrored services, so they're pretty much the same thing. But come out and see us this weekend in Garland, Texas. Again, endtime.com/events. You look like you were gearing up to say something.
I am, because one of the things that's interesting too, we're kind of coming from a totally opposite direction of what a lot of Christian podcasters and broadcasters are talking about nowadays, because people are really, I mean, when you look at some of the Christian podcasts, it's like they teach the replacement theology. It's a very dangerous theology, but we're watching God move pieces of puzzles around to where we are getting in a location where we're going to be able to go and teach and preach the truth to people that might not ever be able to hear it without God opening these doors for us.
Yeah.
And so, it's amazing. When you look at the big picture of things that are going on with this ministry right now, you can see why so many years ago the Lord told your grandfather to start a college in Israel. I mean, that's just amazing in itself. And so that's why this weekend is going to be a huge thing for you to go and hear Dave talk about, because there are so many things that God has done since he told Irvin Baxter, I want you to take this message to the Jewish people. And, what'd your poppy say? Lord, how am I going to do this? And he said, well, I've already given you the tools you need. You just got to learn how to use those tools and do this. And that's how the college got started. So it's amazing, because people that you wouldn't even think, people that I wouldn't even think would support something like that, sent money saying, I don't know why, but God told me to send some money to you guys. And here's $500, and during that time, we watched that college be set up. We never knew back then what direction that was going to lead us, and look at it where it's led us to. I mean, this is incredible. And you guys, I'm not going to say anything more, because you just need to go to the conference this weekend and hear Dave. He's going to reveal some things to you. And by the time you leave there, your jaw may be on the floor. You might have to pick your jaw up. It's going to be jaw dropping.
Yes, it will. We're going to have a good time. So I can't wait for that. And then, of course, your Bible study starting on Monday.
Yeah.
At the Church on the Hilltop in Kilgore, Texas. And so excited about that and the community that's growing there. And so if you're in the Kilgore, Texas area, make sure you come out to Doug's Understand the End Time class.
Yeah.
It's going to be a wonderful time. All right, Doug. Iran is in the news yet again.
Yeah, and this is something, because of last week with the holiday break that we kind of took, we didn't get to cover a lot of what was going on there with the protest. And so there's been a lot of protests there. If you guys haven't seen it, you should go check that out. But the protests are over the government and the things that the government's doing. So you can see, I was asked a long time ago when I was doing Understanding the End Time course, we were doing a Zoom course, and I think I taught one part of it or something. I can't remember. But somebody asked me one time, well, what about Iran? How is Iran going to exist there and live side by side with Israel until the Battle of Armageddon happens, when they hate Israel so much? And that's one of the things that I expressed to them, is that there's a movement there where the young people are not behind this regime that hates Israel so much. The young people in Iran, they are the ones that are protesting right now. And something other people might not understand too is that Iran actually has a large number of Christians, like a revival that is taking place in that country. Of course, they have to do it in secret, and but it's interesting to say the least that you're seeing these young people stand up at their government. And so that's what I want to talk about here, is the situation going on with Iran. Iran is still pressing, trying to get to a point where they have nuclear weapons and nuclear capability to basically wipe out Israel and the United States. They hate both of us and they want to attack both of us. But That's what they're pushing for, and they make no secret about that. That's what the government of Iran is pushing for. But protests across Iran has entered into its 10th day as of this article from the Jerusalem Post, with at least 29 activists that are reportedly been killed, including 4 minors, according to human rights activists. And it says more than 1,200 people have been detained, with activists warning the true number is likely higher. And dozens of protesters have been injured by rubber bullets and pellets and tear gas and things like that. Of course, you're going to see that with any kind of protest that's going on. But the human rights groups say that the state media have aired forced confessions from detained protesters, raising serious concerns about coercion and abuse. So these things are going on, and it's interesting because President Trump, Vince, made a warning to Iran and told Iran that if they were to shoot or violently kill peaceful protesters, that the U.S. will come to their rescue. He added that America was locked and loaded and ready to go. And so he's letting Iran know that once we find out something like that's going on, that America could get involved in that conflict. And so this is one of the things that their president called reckless and dangerous, saying that it could lead to a wide-scale war because of the words that President Trump has used about his country. So it's interesting developments that are going on there. You've got these young people that are protesting. Remember what happened with the young lady who was killed because of her hijab, that she didn't wear it in public, and then she was killed because of that. And then what happened with the protests there, that's what Trump is really kind of repeating, is going back to the way that they handled that protest. He's saying if you handle it like you did this last one, then the United States could get involved in this situation. So you got words being said that are, very inflammatory there, that could cause to intervention by the United States. Now, something that I might note is the president didn't say if this would be a military involvement or if this would be sanctions or something like that. Mm-hmm. He just said we would get involved somehow or another. So he's given that warning. We'll just see. I know that Marco Rubio said in an interview after the situation with the Venezuelan president that in his 15 years of being in politics, he has never seen a president that sticks to his word like this man. He said if President Trump tells you he's going to do something, he is going to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing about President Trump. He's a man of his word. If he tells you he's going to do something, you better believe it.
And Dan Bongino reiterated that. He of course is no longer in serving at the FBI. Yeah. But he's now in the public sector again, and mm-hmm. he's making a few statements on his X account, and he was reiterating that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all develops. And of course, that's one thing highlight I would want to make is that we obviously, there's a lot of details we don't know.
Right.
We can't say why this or that in a lot of areas, but we can say this war is coming. We need to be ready. We need to be doing everything we can to grow in our discipleship process, to search ourselves and go, man, Lord, change me. Right. Especially this time of year, people are doing that more than they are perhaps in August. So search yourself yeah. and be self-honest and say, Lord, help me to see it clearly.
Right.
I need to grow this year.
Yeah.
If the community I'm involved in, my church I'm involved in, if that's gonna grow, I need to grow. It's gonna start within me, yeah. And so we need to search ourselves because it is coming at some point, and we believe right. it's soon. We don't know exactly when. We don't know how everything's going to play out, but we do know it's coming, yeah. And so we need to be ready. And of course, what we saw in New York with Mamdani being elected,
yeah.
This is. We never would have anticipated this being able to happen, not only in the United States, but specifically in New York, where just a few years ago, 21 years ago, mm-hmm. of course, 9/11 occurred, and so people are highlighting just the years, 21 years later, we've forgotten, and of course, Mamdani is elected, and now he's appointing different people, and he gets up and is sworn in on the Quran and says, I was elected as a democratic socialist, and I'm going to keep applying those principles. And so here we are seeing principles that we read about in the Bible that are going to come in the end time, and they're being preached about and being activated in one of our own countries. Yeah. And of course there's more with
well, I'll tell you something that struck me as interesting, too, because he said when he did his speech after he was sworn in the other day, he said we are going to replace rugged individualism with what was the word that he called? He said collectivism, but he said, I can't remember what the other word was that he used, but like comforting collectivism or something like that. What's more rugged individualism than arresting the Venezuelan president, flying him in a helicopter over the Statue of Liberty right into New York, where he goes in for this? I mean, they could have had that trial anywhere. No, why did they take him to New York? It was almost like, here's some rugged individualism as we stand up for this country. And he flies him. I don't know if anybody caught that, but he flew him right over the Statue of Liberty. And you can't even, without special permission, you can't even fly anywhere within the airspace of the Statue of Liberty. But this military helicopter,
I think they have the special permission.
I think they probably had it. Yeah, probably. Somebody said, I saw a video of that, and somebody said in the comments, they said, and they were probably playing Fortunate Son, blasting from the speakers of that helicopter as they flew over. So I don't know, but I think that was kind of a thumb in the eye of Mamdani over that situation in that comment he made. But it's very interesting. This is that kind of president. He does things like that.
Yeah. Well, and the rise of socialism in the United States is at an all-time high. Of course, this is one example, and he's appointing, let's see, he appointed C. Weaver. I don't know how to say her name, but she's the tenant advocate. Yeah. What does the tenant advocate do?
I wish I knew more about what the tenant advocate does, but it's not so much what her title is as what she said that got me.
Well, if she worked at like an apartment complex or a condo, I would understand. But she's a government employee. I don't know what she's doing, but I'm sure I'm just the ignorant one here. But nonetheless,
well, just think of as you continue with the story, think of the word tenant advocate and what that would mean in your head. As you're thinking what that might mean, but listen to what she says.
Well, she's highlighting that she advocates for seizing private property, promotes collectivization, and describes home ownership as a tool of white supremacy. And she also encouraged the election of more communists in earlier statements, of course. The posts which were later deleted from her X account, so she's gone in and cleaned that up to try to eliminate the evidence, but of course the internet is undefeated. They will find it. So she's drawn some criticism, of course, and raised concerns among others that are looking on and going, what in the world is going, how are these people in office in the United States of America? Right. And so apparently she needs more tenants, and so she's wanting to eliminate home ownership and get people to not own anything and be happy about it.
And that's the thing. This sounds so much like the WEF. And
Klaus Schwab.
Yeah, Klausy Schwab, as Joe from New York likes to call him. But think about what they're saying here, Vince. They're talking about taking private property, seizing it. The government seizing your private property. Now, does that sound like a country where it's the land of the free and the home of the brave, when the government's going to come in and seize your private property? Now, they're talking about home ownership here, but think about, if you own land, if you own property like that, you want to talk about them saying that it describes white supremacy. Is she trying to say that there's no one but white people that own homes? I mean, I know a lot of diversified people that own their home and their property. I've got neighbors that live across the road from me out in the country, and they own several acres, and they're not white. So are they considered part of the white supremacy? But the idea of this collectivism that they're talking about, the idea of saying we're going to take your property away, that's socialism 101. We're going to take it away and we're going to give it to everybody, and you're going to have nothing and be happy. That's basically what they're saying. And I want you to know that as I was researching them today, I looked to see if either one of these people attended Klaus Schwab's Young Global Leaders School. And it said neither one of them did. But, man, they've been studying it or something, because for them to say what they're saying, and her X account, that the original article that I pulled this from had her X account postings there. So it had everything she said. And she said it not once, but she said it many, many times. And yet she's the one that's going to be in this position for Mamdani. So it's very interesting, but it reminded me of the WEF and the 2030 agenda, their goals that they had. You remember when they put that out a couple of years ago and we covered this? I wanted to remind everybody of that 8 predictions that the WEF made, because we're beginning to see it in our own country. We've talked about it before. We're watching a lot of these crazy things happen in the UK and in Europe, where, you know, they're making people take basically a what is it called? I can't even think now what they call it.
Digital ID?
Yes, a digital ID. Thank you. Where they're having
Trying
to
to think
do
of
that.
all the things they're making people do in Europe.
Well, and not
got
only
lucky.
that, but they're giving it to newborn babies and things are getting this digital ID.
Of course, it's setting their life up for so much more success.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For the mark of the beast, especially. So you're watching these things begin to happen, and you see it in other countries. We see what Canada's doing. We know that Klaus Schwab bragged about most of the government there in Canada graduating from his young global leaders, almost like he was proud of himself that he had shaped the minds of these people. But these 8 predictions, I wanted to go back to that because I always like to give you numbers.
I love them.
Yeah, I know you do. And so I wanted you to remind everybody, Vince, of those goals of 2030, because here we are, 2026. And these are still goals that the WEF wants established, and one of them is about the United States particularly. And so could that be what's going on in New York? I don't know, but...
Well, I think it's part of it for sure.
Yeah,
part of how
absolutely.
they're going to accomplish the 2030 agenda is to implant people in certain positions to change things. You can see it in New York. You can see it in California. You can see it in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You can see it even here in Dallas, Doug, in the Dallas area.
There you go.
So
It's
there's a
close to home.
strategic effort that's happening to try to change things. And from this World Economic Forum 2030 agenda video, they made 8 predictions about what would happen by 2030. It's 2026 now. We're 4 years away.
Yeah.
So do you think if their intention, I mean, they're spending probably billions of dollars collectively on these efforts. So the closer we get to 2030, the more intense this is going to get.
Yeah.
So we ain't seen nothing yet. I believe that in regards to revival, but I also believe that in regards to persecution, and we ain't seen nothing yet, and I'm not scared about it.
Right.
But I know that God's going to do some things and help us, and there's going to be the enemy that does not like it and going to try to stop some things. So
Yes.
as we ramp up
you
closer,
say billions, and I think even trillions.
probably trillions. Yeah, I'm way underdoing it, I would imagine. So 8 predictions that they made in this video for the 2030 agenda from the World Economic Forum. Number 1, you will own nothing and be happy.
Sounds exactly like what she
I'm
just
feeling
said.
happier and happier about that idea.
Right.
They're going to rely on shared access to goods and services. Of course, we see this going up all over the place in larger cities, where they're building a first floor full of grocery store, restaurants, different dry cleaning, all the different things that people need to survive. Some of them are actual needs, some of them are wants, but nonetheless they're there, and then they live above in the apartment complex.
Yeah.
So
15-minute cities.
yeah, so so you'll own nothing, be happy. We see that coming around everywhere,
Yeah.
especially the bigger cities. The U.S. won't be the world's leading superpower.
So see, there you go. They're trying to make that a thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the second prediction they made that will happen by 2030. Number 3, organ transplants will change. So they're going to do a 3D printing of organs. Why is that in the list? That's so weird.
Well, it's just because of the advances. And think about, they want transhumanism is another thing they want. So if they can get you used to taking something that is a foreign object that they're putting in your body, next thing you know is you'll take a chip in your hand, your forehead.
Yeah. You'll eat much less meat.
Yeah, that one really offends me.
I bet. You see that happening?
No, I don't see that happening.
Well, there's whole restaurants that are vegan or vegetarian or 3D printed. I don't know if there's a whole restaurants for this, but there's 3D printed meat now.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Bugs. And recently, our governor here in Texas has outlawed 3D printed lab grown meat like that. So that is something that we can look forward to, is maybe there are people. But the bug thing, you're right. That's man, that is a Bill Gates thing right there. We've talked about that and even shown videos of celebrities partaking in eating bugs and saying how yummy they are.
No thanks. Number 5, 1 billion people will be displaced by climate change. So because of the climate, people are going to be displaced, and it's going to require better global cooperation on welcoming and integrating refugees.
Yeah, integrating refugees. That's an interesting why that has anything to do with climate change.
Well, because, it's going to get so hot, or flooding's going to happen, and they're going to have to clear out large portions of countries or portions of countries, and they're going to go, let's ship them to this other country, and they need to receive them and give them all their benefits. And, we see this already here in the United States, but maybe it's going to ramp up even more with worse and worse weather that create climate crisis. Number 6.
Oh, another show.
I was trying not to say anything.
I know.
Number 6, polluters will have to pay for carbon emissions.
Yeah. And see, that's something they've been trying to do for a long time. I mean, this is one of the reasons why Trump pulled us out of the Paris Climate Accords, is because that's basically what it was. It was like taking from the rich countries and giving to the poor. It's just socialism, or just a Robin Hood plan, where these countries that are larger, they have more pollution, so they have to pay this carbon emissions tax, and then they give to the poorer nations and help them. And so it's really, that's just wealth redistribution at its finest, covering it with carbon emissions.
Yeah, and all the while they're wanting you to use less plastics while they fly more on their private jet.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm all for. Hey, if you have a private jet, fly on.
Right.
But don't come at me and say you shouldn't be using that plastic can, or whatever the case may be. It's like use these cloth bags when you're doing your grocery shopping instead of plastic or paper bags or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And you're doing it from
part of the whole thing with the meat, eating less meat, they say that cooking meat and stuff causes global warming, along with the results of the cows.
They've got 10 cars, planes, all the things, and it's like
and they eat steak all the time, I guarantee you.
Yeah, the best
steaks.
Number 8, Western values will be tested to the breaking point.
Yeah.
So it feels like we're close to that one for sure.
I think that we are. This is what the rugged individualism speech is all about. It goes back to what Klaus Schwab talked about a couple of years ago, when he was saying that we need to do away with nationalism, and we need to get people to think more globally and about globalism. That's all part of that. They want to take those Western values away, the things that we value the most, and replace it with a global thinking, a global mindset, which we know what Revelation 13 tells us, that there's going to be a world government that is going to be a global world government beast, and that's what they're shooting for with this 2030 agenda. And if you take a state like New York, as big as New York is in the United States, and you put in a socialist mayor candidate, well, this is just a foot in the door to get him into Congress and, just move him up into power. In a place like New York, especially with that kind of pull, with that kind of ability to move in the rankings thereof, and then that ideology begins to be preached throughout, our representatives. And so that's what they're trying to do. And you can see it happening. They want to get rid of our Western values and move us more toward this globalized thinking. And so, I mean, we're in a crucial point right now. That's why so many people, I believe, really hate President Trump, especially some of these world leaders. Because remember, Vince, he went to the belly of the beast and made a speech from the WEF when this 2030 agenda came out and said, America will always be a sovereign nation. We will never give up our sovereignty. So, I mean, that's the thing that they hate him for, because he will not comply to what they want to do within the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've got 3 minutes left, Doug, so we got to figure out how to wrap this show up, because I know we've got way more notes than we have time. But while you're figuring that out, I want to quickly say once again, we need your help. If you're sharing this video 55 minutes in, it goes a long way. So make sure you share right now, even if you did before, and then also make sure you're giving us a heart, thumbs up, and commenting. Let us know your thoughts throughout the show. Of course, most people actually watch the show archived, not live. So your comments help get the word out even more than you realize. And of course, when you put happy birthday Doug today, he's going to smile real big. And so happy birthday to Doug tomorrow.
Yeah, because tomorrow's actually the day.
Are you telling people you're 40 now, or?
Oh, man. No, you know what? I don't even wish I was 40 again. I'll be 59
59,
tomorrow.
the big 5.
So I'm pushing that big 6-0. And it doesn't bother me. 30 bothered me when I was a kid, because
when you were a kid.
Yeah, when I was leaving 20s and I was about to hit 30, I thought, man, I've really got to grow up now. But now I've been doing this for a while.
59, he's like, I really got to grow up now.
Yeah, for real. Now, with having a third grandbaby, I feel it. I feel 59. But, life is good. And here's the thing. We talked about how we wrap something like this up. Moving into 2026, we need to look at our relationship with the Lord, because
Amen.
Right now is a very crucial time. People cannot wait until the final 7 years starts and then say, oh, now I'm going to get my life right. I'm going to start living for God. I'm going to repent and be baptized and live a life for Jesus. You need to do that right now. You may not get an opportunity. None of us are promised tomorrow. And Vince, as this world continues to move, you can just see things happening that are more and more prophetic. Even in creation itself, we're watching all these natural disasters that have happened, and these earthquakes that are happening more and more, volcanoes erupting, all the chaos and everything that Jesus talked about in Matthew 24 is beginning to take place. So right now, people really need to be pushing into that relationship with Jesus Christ. They need to be in churches. They need to be in Bible studies. They need to be having daily prayer time with God. They need to be having study time where they are learning from God's word. But most of all, people need to repent right now. When the Lord says, seek me while I can be found, there's going to come a time when he's not going to be able to be found by people. That door is going to get shut. If you're not seeking him now, Vince, you may not have the time to do that later.
Well,
yeah.
You're not promised tomorrow. Make sure you go to endtime.com/reborn. Make sure you've been born again the Bible way. And like we've said, we're going to help you grow in discipleship the best that we can. If we can do anything for you, if you have a prayer request that we can pray with you about, our team gathers every single morning. Make sure you go to endtime.com/contact, fill out the form there, select prayer request. Our team will mention you and your need by name when we gather in the morning. So do that right now. Don't forget, there's thousands of hours of content available at endtime.com and watch.osn.tv. Much available for free. Of course, you can subscribe and get additional resources there, but a lot available for free there. So go there, check it out, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. God bless.